Hello everybody out there in the YouTube world. I just wanted to make this short video just to maybe help a couple people out because I've been tearing my hair out the past about a week trying to figure this out on and off with any spare time I had. But I have here an Arduino Mega and an Arduino Uno board, both with the LinkSprite Bluetooth shields. So I basically just wanted to work on making a Bluetooth to Bluetooth controller. So have one Arduino set up as my transmitter and the other one as the receiver, and control something and then work from there. Well, I was having a hard time at first because setting up the LinkSprite was really easy. No issues there at all if you just follow the link that they have on their page on setting it up. You just take some code and paste it in there. There's lots of tutorials on that, on videos that people posted. So that's pretty easy. But the issue that I ran into when I wanted to transfer information from the master to the slave and then have it interpret that information and then do something, like in this setup here, right here, what I ended up doing was just, light something up. Right, there you go. These are both connected to the computer, but I can, unplug them and connect them straight to power, and the same thing would work. But the issue that I had, this was following James from X Robots. You can check him out. But I was looking at how he was doing his Bluetooth controllers, and he was doing basically a serial read, reading serial, having serial read serial 1 and then printing that out, and then reading a read parse int and then grabbing that information. So that's probably what I'll try and end up doing that later, but here's the issue I was having. So here's my code over here. I'll kind of post this on the internet. I know it's going to be blurry, but so over here, this was my transmitter, and basically I'm just saying, hey, here's my button. Begin the serial, and then I'm saying, hey, the button, digital 12 is my button. And we're just gonna print the button number to the serial. And then, so that information coming from the master, so this goes to the master, Bluetooth Shield. That gets sent over to the slave, which is the Arduino Mega. And here, I'm just, all this junk up here, and I'll explain what was going on. So here, I turned serial 1 on and serial on. Wait a second for them to all connect, so the Bluetooth connects up. Everything is great. So hey, if there's something coming from serial 1, I want you to read it. And then this is to my understanding. Now, I'm brand new to this, so I don't know a lot. But this right here was to prevent basically false information. This last at a time current millis and stuff, because we use that down here. So this is what was interesting for me that I didn't know, was that when I'm reading a serial, it gives you the information in ASCII. So I didn't know that. So all of a sudden I started getting these 48 and 49s, and I was like, oh, what the heck's going on? And then I was actually getting 48, 10, 48, 10, 48, 10. Just repeating when I was getting my information. I didn't know what was going on there. Because this used to be set to 1. Because, if the button was pushed, I was going to read a 1. 1 was going to get printed to serial that was going to be read by this slave and put out onto my screen. And then it would turn the light on. Well, because serial read will get my integer but print it out in ASCII, well, then it's printing out, 48s and 49s instead for 0 and 1. And then on top of that, when I was getting this 10, 10 was for new line. So that new line code right there, when I had this new line code over here, so serial print, and then under here I had a new line. I had serial print and then the new line. That was printing out the 10. So I ended up figuring that out, so I had to take that out. That's just kind of like reading the code. But before I got to that, I wasn't able to actually, I was having a really hard time reading the information from the master, or reading the information on the slave from the master. And now if I connected the pins directly, so I took the pins, well, if I just took wires and jumpers and I jumped the pins straight from the master to the slave, you know, I could print out the data, or the data on from both boards on the screen. That wasn't an issue. But the issue I was having was if I was over Bluetooth, it wasn't working. Now I could write, if I had really no code in it at all, I could open up the terminals or the consoles for both of them, and then I could write back and forth to each other, so they were connected, and these red lights here were on, saying they were connected. But when I would try to actually just print when I was trying to get the data from the master, put it to the slave, and then print to the screen, it wasn't happening. So I did a bunch of research, and eventually I ran into this forum here, which was on LinkSprite's webpage, on their forum right here. So this JB33 guy was talking about setting it up, and I know that I could have set this up with software serial, but because I got a Mega, because I didn't want to do that, I wanted to just run it off. Well, I wanted more ports and everything, but I wanted to run it off a hardware serial. So I wanted to run or read the data coming from the master on the slave, which was on my Mega, through serial 1. But I couldn't do that because serial 1 or serial 0 is used for, serial 1 is used for the USB for both boards, and also pin 0 and 1, which is for serial 1, is used for serial 1, the transmitter and receiver on the hardware transmitter and receiver on the LinkSprite is also 0 and 1. So it makes this big old mess, and I couldn't really figure that all out. But then I read this guy, JB33, he had this little tip right here that just said, hey, why don't you just go here and bend out those two pins. No, I know, I'm just bent them out a little bit. But see how I bent out those two pins right there on my slave. Then I jumped it from the LinkSprite Bluetooth Shield to my serial 1. And that was the trick. Once I did that, everything from there was easy. So if you're having problems linking to LinkSprite shields, and you want to be reading from the master to the slave, and then putting that information from the Bluetooth shield from the slave out on a different serial port, serial 1 or serial 2, if you have an Arduino that has more than one serial and you don't want to use software serial, that was the trick for me right there. So I hope that was helpful. I know it was a crappy video, but if you got to the end and it helped you out, hey, no problem. It took me a long time to figure it out, but other people helped me out. So have a good one, YouTube universe.